Ladies and gentlemen, a few technical issues aside, the stream is now up and we are up as well. For more racing in F1 Total, we are back in Division 1. I am BS Gabri in the commentary box as always. You are watching the Australian Grand Prix, round number 14 of this 18th season in the league's history. Qualifying is underway. A few minutes have already passed. A few drivers have already set their first laps. There's plenty of time left on the clock, 13 minutes and a half, almost 45 seconds now. And yeah, we are here in Melbourne, in Albert Park. We are racing down under. We all know Melbourne as well. Now the opening track for real Formula One. It's been the opening track of the first round of the official Formula One seasons for quite a few years, actually, a lot of years. But then it became one of the first, but not the first, because Bahrain became the season opener. But ever since 2025, Melbourne is now officially back as the first round of the calendar, and it's actually going to be race week for real Formula One in Melbourne just in a few days, because exactly 8 days from now is going to be Sunday, and it's going to be race week for Formula One in 2026 around Australia as well. But for now, we just enjoy some league racing, and you all know the saying, what they say for league racing: the cars may be fake, but the racing is real. And so the action, nevertheless, it's always present in the video games. So we are definitely in for a very exciting one, I have to say. I think the Division 2 race in Australia was also a very, very exciting one. We actually had quite a lot of safety cars, especially a late one. There we go. And well, we shouldn't rule out any chance of rain, but I haven't been informed about the weather, so I'm gonna assume that means it's gonna be all dry. So, well, what about the track? It definitely became a lot easier to drive around in the past years. You may remember some very different layouts for Melbourne. Like where is Jeremy right now? There used to be another chicane just breaking, coming after. Just after turn 6, there was another chicane right into a left one, and then there was the straight just before the current turn 10 and 11. That's the fast chicane, the extremely fast chicane into the left and into the right. And also before that, just so many changes. Again, it definitely became a lot easier to drive. It's a lot more faster now. There's a whopping 4 DRS zones, but both of them with the same detection point. So it's 2 DRS zones per detection point, and that's a crucial aspect to consider when you are racing around the track. And yeah, it became just so high speed. And on the F1 25 game, you actually don't even need that much downforce. Like already in general on F1 25, you need a lot less downforce in your setups compared to F1 24. You can definitely drive around, like even fast technical tracks. I mean, Melbourne has become very fast, yes, but it's still very technical. You still need quite some precision and some downforce. You have some crucial grip, both in slow and fast corners. Still is somewhat of a technical track, but you can definitely get away with it even on lower wings. So that's kind of the thing for the F1 25 game as a whole. But I think it also just shows how much easier it became to drive. Track limits are very difficult, I'd say. Well, not very difficult, but there are some corners where it's very, like you need some absolute precision, like turn 1 and turn 2, I would say. Well, there's turn 10 and 11. No, there's actually 9 and 10, the fast chicane starting in sector 3. The driver's taking it in either 6th or 7th gear. became so fast. And even with these cars, there's just so much downforce, especially the 2025 cars have so much downforce in a high-speed corners, and it definitely shows. We can clearly watch Felix's on board as he goes around turn 9 and 10, taking 6th gear and uses a lot of curb to open up the racing line as much as possible while still staying inside the legal track limits. Some curves are also notoriously bouncy, but you have to take some to get the perfect line. And then there's some crucial traction zones like this last corner right here, turn 3 and 4 as well. What else? Turn 11. So yeah, it's a very heterogeneous track. There's definitely different types of corners, and again, it produces a lot of action. Division 2 was very action-packed, and I think it's gonna be the same in Division 1. Drivers are still setting their laps, and well, we don't have a very numerous grid tonight, just 11 drivers. I don't know if there should be more drivers joining. Theoretically, there should. But anyway, as of now, we are down to 11 drivers for now. And let's discuss a few protagonists. First of all, Cheeseburger is back into the reserve seat. He's reserving for Alpine tonight. He's back after quite a few races he's missed. Then we have a completely new driver, VMV Veller. I'm gonna call him Veller, reserving for Red Bull in tonight's race. And if you remember the grid, if he is reserving for Red Bull, that means the Car Chaser once again is not racing. Car Chaser and PC Willy, both the Red Bull drivers, are not attending tonight's race. But obviously for the championship, it's a lot bigger of a deal about Car Chaser not racing, because once again, this is going to be quite an important chance for Felix to close in the championship. Sure, they are still very far. Car Chaser is still leading on 46 points. So even if Felix wins with the fastest lap, he's not going to gain the championship lead. But every single race where Car Chaser is not racing, it's obviously extremely important. And last week in Hungary, it was Felix versus Jeremy for the win. And Jeremy just looked to be the upright fastest driver. Definitely the most dominant, both in race pace and just overall qualifying pace. He definitely looked like the strongest one, and he got a very deserved win in Hungary. And it could still be a contender for tonight's race, but I'm gonna say, well, it's obviously gonna be Felix versus Jeremy, definitely those two. But you can see Numikon as well. He was also one of the fastest in Hungary and was quite up there with the fight. I mean, definitely not a like 100% sure race contender, if you know what I'm saying, but he's definitely up there. He definitely has a lot of pace, and you really can't rule him out too often. And right now he's even improving by a little bit more than a tenth. If he finds even more time, he could go in pole position. I set the pole position time in Division 2, and it was a 15.2. So with Numicorn's pace right now, Killaswag is up there with a 15.3, but Numicorn is still improving. I think he could still beat it right now, so pole position will be either in the low 15s or even in the high 14s. But let's see. For Numicorn, he actually lost a lot of time. He was improving by a tenth and a half almost, but now he lost half a tenth. That's an improvement of only 66 thousandths, which means he sets only a 15.4 and stays in P2. He improves his time, but not his position, as for now. So again, Killaswag, Numicorn, Felix, Jeremy, these four look like the strongest. Veller on his debut, well, he's up there on qualifying pace. He's just less than a tenth behind Jeremy. But then I think the way kind of splits. I mean, there's Cheeseburger, who is not the fastest in qualifying, but when he used to race a lot more often earlier in the season, he showed a lot of consistency and a lot of racecraft that definitely put him up there in good positions in almost every race. So He can definitely be a challenger, but maybe not quite the contender for the race win. But other than that, it's gonna be like, I don't know, probably a top 5, fighting for the win or the podium, and then they kind of split apart from the rest of the grid. Sean Mull didn't have the greatest of races in Division 2 in Australia last Wednesday, so maybe he's gonna want to redeem himself, try and improve on the not exactly great race he had just a few days ago. Let's see. Jonathan is also back as a reserve driver. This time he's reserving for a Haas, so it's gonna be Felix's temporary teammate replacing Phantom Fox. And after all this yapping, 3 minutes and a half are left on the clock, so the driver's B numbers is already starting easy. Easy starting his last run. Still shows he's on the out lap. Should be pushing now. But apart from B numbers, everyone else is in the pits, or they're just coming out now. So let's see. I really don't think B numbers is on the out lap. I mean, he's burning energy. DRS is open. Aussie Joy retires in the pits. Maybe he doesn't think he can improve. And actually, there's a big gap between B numbers and Aussie Dry, just a second. And B numbers, oh! B numbers losing the car at the high-speed chicane of turn 9 and 10, and just trying to correct the car in the gravel in the runoff area. Not quite able to do that. It goes into the wall. That's the end of qualifying for B numbers as he crashes on the outside wall. Currently sitting in P6. He's not gonna start higher than that. Sean Mull, the current Division 2 championship leader, will be the first driver to start the last round of qualifying. Right behind him is Felix. Jeremy retires in the pits as well. And now we're gonna go on board with Felix in the Haas for a qualifying lap around Melbourne. Deploying energy, DRS enabled just before turn 1 and braking for this very high speed chicane at turn 1 and 2. Never mind, it's already invalid. Just as I said before, that corner, it is so easy to go over track limits. And I think Felix needs definitely to get a move on, otherwise he might not have a run. He might not have a chance to set another lap before the end of qualifying. Sean is setting, well, not really a purple sector 2, I think. Didn't see his time, so I'm not able to confirm that, but he's pushing around the final corners now into turn 12. This fast right-hander, and then immediately braking for the left-hander of 13. We are already going back to the slow-speed corners. Traction is essential, especially around the last corner. Turn 14 on the main straight, DRS enabled. Deploying some even more energy for Sean. It's a P7 with a 16.087. Felix, it looks like he's gonna make it. He's gonna have a lot of wear on those tires now because he definitely had to push to try and make it to the finish line. But that's gonna be his only chance to make it. Just enough. He makes it before the checkered flag. Into turn 1. Now he stays inside track limits, and now DRS enabled once again and deploying some energy, and now into a hard braking zone for turn 3. This is a very slow speed section, exiting in 4th gear out of turn 4. Watch out to not lose the current traction, and immediately it's turn 5, finishing sector 1 with an improvement of 32 thousandths of a second. Now sending the car at this extremely high speed right-hander of turn 6 into 7 and 8. We now have a few corners which are not official corners, it's just pretty much a straight with DRS. Finishes sector 2, still improving. Now, into 9 and into 10. It's another invalidation, and Felix just gives up and smashes into the wall as he invalidates yet another run. And Killer's Wax sets a new fastest lap time at 15.330. Currently places himself on pole position. Is Numicon able to answer? Yes, he is! At 15.239. The British driver is gonna be your pole sitter here in Melbourne. That's qualifying done. That's the grid done. We stay in the low 15s. Numicon takes pole position ahead of Killer's Felix in P3, just ahead of one of his main rivals, Jeremy in P4. Velar on his debut, just half a second off of pole position. He's gonna start in P5. B number 6 tenths away, P6 for him. Sean Mould in P7, Bazzigaggio in P8, just a few hundreds away. There's Aussie Dry in P9, Jonathan reserving for Haas in P10, Cheeseburger reserving for Alpine without a single lap time. He's gonna start in P11 by himself at the back of the grid. And that's the grid done. So, Numicon just beat my pole position time in Division 2 by 30 thousandths of a second. He set a 15.239 and I set a 15.269. So it's gonna be Numicon who sets we could say the Australia track record for the F1 25 game, because last time we raced in Australia it was literally the first race we had on F1 25 back in June, and the pole position time there was a 15.3 in Division 1, and that was the fastest lap overall. But now, after the second race in Australia, now it's Numicon who set the track record for the F1 25 game cycle with a 15.239, and then there's just, me in second place. But we're not really in the same qualifying session, so that was just kind of explaining it in a bigger picture across all divisions. Numicon's lap time is the fastest one. I don't really remember if it's faster than F1 24. I don't really have a reference for that. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that Numicon is going to be your pole sitter. Killer's in P2. Felix trying to gain as many points on Car Chaser as possible. It's going to be a P3 for him on the starting grid, with Jeremy just behind him. We do see a lot of sense, sometimes actually quite often, a lot of incidents in Turn 1, so I wouldn't rule out any shenanigans happening on the first lap. So we can kind of expect the unexpected. Now, strategy-wise, okay, so on the first race we had in Australia, I definitely remember the Division 2 race. I wasn't even there, but I watched it on stream. It was quite a close fight actually between one-stoppers and two-stoppers, but overall, in the bigger picture, the one-stop is still faster. Now, granted, the two-stop is definitely up there. It is viable. Like it's not a complete bad choice. I mean, the pit stops are very short. You lose like 18 seconds or even less in the pit lane. It's a very short pit straight, and you go there at 80 kph. So you really lose very little time in the pit lane. And you're just able to push so much on the fresher tires, even especially in the fast corners. While on the one stop you do have to do not massive management, but like a moderate amount of management. But that's only talking about like in clean air conditions with no traffic or whatsoever, because in racing conditions where there's a lot of dirty air, which on this game actually improves your tire wear, which is opposite of real life. Like, you might think that with your tire wear in clean air, you might require a two-stop, but then You're just driving dirty air behind someone, and you don't get that much. You actually don't get that much wear, and you can actually make a one-stop work. So again, long story short, one stop should be the best choice. But two stop, maybe not on a normal strategy, but if a safety car comes out, it's definitely on the cards. So we are ready for everything, I can say. The 5 red lights are on in Melbourne, and it's lights out, and away we go. Numicorn tries to get the traction, but overall it's a good start. Kilaswag is not able to put alongside, but Jeremy is already putting alongside Felix. Actually, Jeremy overtakes Felix immediately just before turn 1. Position changes. There's a wing left flying from someone's car. I'm not really sure from who. That's probably Jonathan with a missing end plate. Yes, it is. That's a missing end plate on the Haas driver. Now he's surrounded by the two Alpines. Gisborger is immediately up into P9. B numbers down to dead last, losing a lot of places on the opening lap. Numicorn maintains the lead of the race. Kilaswag follows in just behind. It's going to be a big slipstream training here. And B numbers is immediately speeding. He's already around just after turn 6 at the back of the grid, and he's going to lose a lot of seconds to the rest of the pack. Well, Kilaswag going wide on the track limits. Also Veller. That chicane is very difficult in racing conditions, and it can definitely catch you off guard if you're not careful enough. Bazooka Joe losing places as well. He gets overtaken by Jonathan. I think Bazooka was in the gravel, maybe. He made a mistake at turn 11. Everyone is starting on the mediums except for Sean Mull, who's starting on the hards. And the grid looks to be together from P1 to P6. And then after that, there's a gap between Sean Mull and Aussie Dry. And then there's obviously B numbers by himself. But Cheeseburger, he's already making places. Now he's on the back of Aussie Dry. DRS has been enabled. Well, it will be enabled after turn 6. And once you get the DRS out of turn 6, you get it all the way down to turn 11. So it's a very, very big chance for overtakes. Kilaswag will definitely perform the first overtake on the race leader, as Kilaswag now takes the lead of the race. There's nothing he can do. I mean, Numicorn, there's nothing he can do to defend against that. Cheeseburger now gets past Aussie Dry as well. Jeremy, Felix, Veller, Sean, they stay with the yard. They are still in the DRS train. So with almost every driver starting on the mediums, I think the pit window should be around lap 12. Oh, now Velar overtaking Felix as well. They both have DRS, but for some reason Velar has a run on the Haas driver, goes up into P4. Not sure what happened there, maybe mistake out of turn 2. And there's likely going to be another position exchange between the first two. The first two drivers, Numicorn and Kilaswag. Kilaswag, once again, he's one of the drivers who's been showing consistently good pace at a lot of tracks, but never quite finalizing it into a race win or just a good result. Maybe this could be his chance. Although it's still very early, there are still 26 laps left. A lot of things can still happen. Numicorn doesn't look like he's too eager to make a move happen. I think he's just happy to stay in DRS and try to manage the battery. Because I mean, it does close in, but quite a lot late. This doesn't look like he's trying to go for a move, at least for now. Top 6 still staying where they are. In the meanwhile, Cheeseburger has made his way up into P7, and if he does gain on Sean Moore and the rest of the train, he might just be up there into this train and make it a top 7 DRS train and improve even more positions. But now Numicorn looks to be a lot closer than he was before. Or is he? He keeps losing just after turn 6. Aussie gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. The Melbourne track limits already catching one of our drivers off guard, and it's already a 3-second time penalty for the Austrian driver on lap 5. Cheeseburger doesn't look like he's gaining. He actually lost half a second now. He's 3 seconds away from the back, and I think that's just mainly because of DRS. It's so easy. Once you have DRS, you just run away with it, and it becomes difficult for the cars behind to catch up, like no matter what their pace is. But at least I wouldn't say Australia has a big DRS train issue. Like it's not one of those tracks where DRS trains completely kill the racing. I think it's still on in Australia. But once we get into the pit stop phase, things could heat up quickly. An undercut is very powerful here. Lap 8 out of 29 positions still aren't changing, at least in the top group. We are getting closer and closer in the pit stop phase. Hillersberg, theoretically, he's the one in clean air, so he's the one that should have to do more management on those mediums. And the mediums are definitely the tires that suffer more from wear. I mean, it's the C3 to C5 compounds. C4 is generally not great, like on most tracks. but in C3 you can actually push it a lot more. So now Velar gets a penalty, and that's a lot more important for a driver that came in the top 4, who's gonna lose quite a lot of places now with the penalty. But now Jeremy, he's the one putting pressure on Numicon for P2. Things are now changing. I think Numicon cannot afford to lose time from Killerslag anymore. He needs that DRS to defend. We have Alcitra in the pits. On lap 9, we already have a medium runner on the pits. I can say 99% sure that's a 2-stop. And Velar goes for a move. What happened to Jeremy? Jeremy lost places both to Velar and to Felix. What happened? And Cheeseburger spun. What just happened? Jeremy drops down to P5 just a few corners before. He was in P3, putting pressure on Numicon. Now drops to 5th. Velar and Felix move one position each. And now Velar, he's the one chasing Numicon. Cheeseburger in the pit as well on lap 10. Lap 10, I think on lap 10 we start to get into the window where the one stop is still barely doable. Like 19 laps on hards, it's doable. I mean, it's doable but difficult. But I wouldn't say Cheeseburger is doing a 2-stop. Aussie Dry almost definitely is, because that was quite a lot earlier. Sean on the hards, which are now definitely the faster tire. I mean, the hards have definitely become faster than the mediums quite a few laps ago actually. But still, Sean is not able to make a move. He's just sitting there in this DRS train. So once he gets clean air from all the drivers ahead pitting, he's not even gonna have the chance to use the advantage, because he's gonna be on all hards against the other drivers pitting who are gonna be on new hards. So they're gonna be gaining on him. So it's gonna be a lot difficult for Sean on the later stints on the mediums to make up for all the time he's losing now. Because right now he's just nor gaining nor losing. Later he's gonna just lose. So gaining back on the mediums while the other are on all hards is gonna be a more difficult task. But Numicon is dropping out of DRS from Killerslag. That's interesting. 1.1 seconds are separating the McLaren and the V-Carb. Is Numicon already under pressure from Velar? Yes, he is. He already does not have DRS and is being attacked by Velar, who goes up into P2 despite his penalty. Could this be Numicon's sign to go into the pits now? Now that he has lost DRS, and now he's under attack by Felix as well, who goes down inside of turn 11. They still go wheel to wheel. Numicon on the outside line stays ahead. On lap 11, are we going to see any pit stops? Killerslag stays out, and Numicon is in, definitely. Felix follows him in. And Jeremy as well. And Jeremy overtakes. Oh, Jeremy almost overtook Felix in the pit lane. That was a brave attempt, I have to say, but it also could have ended badly. It didn't, but it could have. But it's definitely. I mean, we've seen a lot of times in Division 1 overtakes either happening or just being attempted in the pit lane. It's always wild stuff when you see it happen. And now, crucially, Felix has put a car between himself and Jeremy. There's Bazooka Joe between the two of them. That's very good news for Felix, because now he can attack Unicorn. So he follows him in. He follows him in the pit lane. And also attempts an undercut on Killer's Wagon Valor. And again, an undercut is quite powerful. You do gain close to a second and a half, probably. Jeremy now gets past Bazooka Joe, but crucially is out of DRS from Felix. That's exactly what Felix needed, because now he can attack Unicorn without feeling the pressure from behind, unless he loses too much time trying to follow. And Felix definitely has the overspeed, but he's just teasing Unicorn. Not quite making a move yet, but it's gonna happen soon. But I think he definitely wants to make that move happen in a more in a safer place. So Killer's Wagon Valor in the pit lane. They're gonna come out presumably behind Jeremy. Yes. Or actually, whoa! That was a very close move between Jeremy and Valor. Jeremy around the outside of Valor, who was going so slow because the pit exit has such a tight angle in Zone 1. You go so slower than whoever is behind following the normal racing line going at full racing speed. Going around the outside, it's always a difficult task to avoid cars that are exiting out of the pit lane in that particular moment when they're covering the apex. But now this also means that Jeremy is back into the arrest, not from Felix, but from Killer's-Wag. But it doesn't matter which driver it's from, he's still back in this train. So now it's Sean leading the race on the old hards, and well, he's only gonna lose time from now, but he can only hope he can keep a consistent pace to try and limit that time loss so that he can go on a full rampage on the mediums later. Felix is 5 tenths back. Is that enough for a move? Let's see. Not in turn 9, but he gets closer. Past 9 and past 10. Does he have a run? Doesn't look like it. But Jeremy is getting closer and closer to Killer's-Wag. And he definitely wants to get past as soon as possible, because he definitely does not want a car between himself and Felix. You shouldn't be too worried about Valor behind, because, well, he has the track limits penalty. Felix again closing in and closing in. And he's almost going for the move into 9. He's so close now, but now he gets caught up at the dirty air. It's gonna be more difficult to have around Nissan 11. Does he still try? No, just pressuring him, just teasing him. Not letting your opponent know the next move. He's not trying to communicate to Numiko, hey, I'm gonna overtake you. Just tries to keep him on his toes to try and catch him off guard. He wants to be unpredictable. But 3/10 is the gap just after turn 2. But in the meanwhile, Jeremy goes down inside of Killaswag in turn 3. They bang wheels, they make contact. Killaswag almost gets pushed on the track. Jeremy stays ahead with some contact, but he makes the move up in P4. And he still has the DRS from Felix. And now definitely Felix wants to defend from Jeremy. Now he's got to make the move on Unicorn. He's got the DRS, he's got the energy, he's not gonna wait. And there you go, he gets past. On the inside line, just before turn 9, Aussie Dry gets another penalty in the meanwhile. Killaswag stays so close to Jeremy, but now loses a bit of time. And on lap 17, I think we're getting closer to the pit window for Sean to go from the hard to the mediums. Now he's 5 seconds ahead of Felix. After the pit stop, he's gonna drop to P7 maybe. Now Killaswag and Velo making a move. There's yellow flags for Killaswag. What happened? The McLaren driver dropping to P6, 3 seconds away from the pack. What happened? Probably around turn 3 or turn 4. And Cheeseburger is crushed! And we get a full core safety car! Cheeseburger has crashed out of turn 10. There we go, we can see the Alpine on the right hand side wall. The front tire is completely destroyed and we have a full core safety car. For Sean, this could not go any better. For B numbers, it could not go any worse because he gets a drive-through penalty for speeding on the safety car. For Sean, this is absolute heaven. Or is it? Wait, what? Oh, there we go. Now they get past the safety car. And now this is actually a crucial choice. Jeremy, Killaswag, Aussie Dry, they're all pitting for new hearts. And I think Felix, Numicon and Velar will do the same and should do the same. Which also means that Sean is in absolute heaven right now. He just got gifted the race lead. He now gets a free pit stop at the absolute perfect time. He can now use the safety car to make his mandatory stop from the hards to the mediums. Everyone else is going to be on other hards, but Sean, going for the alternate strategy, he got so lucky. Right now, he has the race lead gifted to him. Everyone is gonna go on new hearts. Sean is now the leader of the Australian Grand Prix in Division 1. With such a lucky moment on the alternate strategy, he now takes the lead. He's gonna have to go to the end on the mediums, and with the safety car, he's also gonna have to drive less laps than expected on those mediums, so he can also afford to push them more. All of a sudden, we have a new challenger for the race win. I mean, sure, the mediums, they will get worn out and become slower than the hards eventually. But at least on the first lap, Sean does have a big advantage on those tires. And he now has a concrete chance of all of a sudden bringing this race win home in Division 1. That was some insane timing and some insane luck, I have to say. So we're just waiting for the rest of the grid to catch up behind the safety car, and they'll definitely do that before the end of the next lap. So from lap 21 onwards, we'll have 9 laps of racing. 9 laps are definitely not a lot on the mediums. Sean can definitely push to the end on those tires. So can everyone on the hards. But Sean needs to use this advantage. I mean, even with temperature, the hards are so difficult to warm up. The mediums definitely less difficult to warm up. So he's also gonna have another advantage in tire temperatures. He's gonna have a lot of grip on restart. So I think unless Jeremy gets rid of Velar quickly because he has the penalty, this should be a 3-way fight between Sean, Felix and Numicorn. Jonathan B. Numbers catching up right now. Safety car should be called in this lap anytime soon. And there we go. The safety car is going into the pit lane. Sean Moole will be your race leader on the restart here in Melbourne on lap 20. He's going to start lap 21 ahead of everyone and on faster tires. Slowing down the pack. Safety car is into the pit lane. He can go anytime he wants now. Slowing down just before turn 13. And he uses the good traction. He restarts the race at turn 13. Felix reacts very well indeed. He's less than 3 tenths away. He can use all of the slipstream available to him. Felix with some beautiful reaction to Sean. And he's almost pushing him in turn 1. And I think he's gonna go for the move immediately in turn 3. Maybe, let's see. He uses all the slipstream, but stays behind and almost keeps pushing Sean through the corners. And Felix is so close, he wants to get past. Or if he doesn't want to get past, he just at least wants to stay close. Just enough to have the DRS from the next lap. Yep, I think right now he's being conservative, saving his energy, saving his tires. Well, not saving his tires, that's... what am I saying? Just saving battery. Not risking it, maybe it's the more suitable saying. Although he's losing quite some time in the slow corners, I would say. But now DRS will be enabled just after turn 6. So DRS enabled now for Felix. He's closing in and closing in. He has the overspeed. He wastes no time going past Sean just before turn 9 and gets past very easily. Now he has a car between himself and Numicorn. Crucially, with DRS as well, Sean Moll will be able to defend from Numicorn. So Felix now takes the lead of the race and is trying to use Sean to his advantage to make things easier for him. I think he doesn't see Sean as a rival, he just sees him as a tool to make the race for others more difficult. Unless Sean just goes full attack mode with the DRS. It doesn't look like he is. And this could be a huge, important moment in the championship. Not only because it will be, well, another huge gain on Kart Racer for Felix. He already gained 18 points by finishing in second place last week in Hungary. But if he wins his race, not only he gains 25 points on his main championship rival, but he will also get his first race win of the entire season. 14 races in, he's been on the podium many times, but not quite able to get a win. This time, things could be different. This time, it could change. He just needs to defend now. He has completed the attack phase. Now he's on defense mode. He's on defense mode. And now Velar going on the attack, overtaking Numicorn for P3, even if he has the track limits penalty. And 5 laps in, we could already be at the point where the mediums start to become slower than the hards. But Velar going for the move on Numicorn is even better news for Felix. Bazika Joe in the meanwhile overtaking Jonathan for P8. Bazika Joe has the inside line, he goes on a curve, Jonathan is all over his rear wing. Fighting for the last points paying positions. Well, fighting for P7 actually. They will be ahead of Aussie Drive with the penalty. Someone hit the wall. I definitely heard a sound. Not sure where it came from. Oh, but Sean now is close. He was very close before turn 9. And Jonathan gets a penalty, and that's his fight for P7 done. And Vela trying to pressure Sean. He had a look down inside in 10-3. Jeremy is chasing down Numicorn. Killaswag is chasing down Jeremy. Everyone is trying to fight for every single position possible in this top 6. But Sean actually goes for the lead. He goes for a move on Felix just before turn 9. And I think they're gonna be swapping places back and forth up until the end. Now the hearts are definitely faster. Jeremy gets a penalty. And that's another driver in top 6 getting a penalty for track limits and definitely compromising his result. He's gonna drop down to P6, I believe. Just behind Velar, who's gonna be in P5. And he does work as well. So it's definitely looking like a podium for Sean, Felix and Numicorn. Now Felix really goes for the lead before turn 9. They definitely need to plan out carefully when to overtake and when to not overtake. They need to plan how they're gonna have to use their DRS and when to use the DRS. When to go for a move and when not to go for a move. It's all strategy. It's all strategy. In the last 2 laps of the race, Felix is now leading lap 28. Will it be the same at the start of lap 29? Only time will tell. And Sean is definitely doing everything he can, but now he defends from Velar, who again is not a real threat, but he's trying to chase him on track. And now Killaswag and Jeremy going side by side and make contact. They bang wheels through turn 3 and turn 4 as well. Jeremy goes so wide on the track and into the wall. Luckily it does not DNF because there was quite a high speed crash. Gets away with it. Oh, never mind, he DNFs. He just retires on track. Making a move on Killaswag and making contact. Going too wide into the runoff and into the wall, and well, he didn't crash from the impact, but he just decided to retire on track anyway. And on lap 28, Felix is still leading, but this battle is still far from over. Sean is there. Felix will be the race leader on the last lap of the race. But that's a gap of 7/10. It's gonna be difficult for Sean to close in. He's got DRS. It's not gonna be enough, at least for now. When he needs to gain time right here in this low section, but his tires are not gonna help him with that. 6 tenths and a half now. He needs a good run after this corner right here. But he has the complete opposite of that. Felix is too far. The gap is simply too big. 7 tenths and a half. Even with the DRS, it's way too much for Sean to overcome. It's more and more looking for Felix like he's finally gonna claim his first race win of the season. Last time he stood on the podium, on the top step on the podium, was at the season finale in Abu Dhabi in season 17. He was on the podiums multiple times this season, not quite on the top step of the podium, but tonight things are finally gonna change for Felix, who wins the Australian Grand Prix in Division 1 on round 14. He finally claims his first race of the season, his first race win of the season. Gets those 25 points against Kyle Chaser, but most importantly for himself. After a long streak of winless races, Felix is back on the top step of the podium, and it's a win for Haas, finally. Sean got very lucky with his strategy and got himself in a place where he was able to challenge for the win. In the end, it's only going to be a P2. Numicorn, one of the main contenders as well, but just kept being too stuck behind in the DRS train for too long. Stayed in P3. But after 14 races, Felix is back on top as a race winner in Australia. He can lift the trophy, he can be happy with that one. The championship is not over until it's over. And I think he definitely needed that. I think Felix definitely needed that. He needed this race, he needed this win. For the championship, but again, more so for himself. He is not giving up until the season is over. Until those last 4 races are done, this fight is not over. Felix is not giving up. And he's showing that today to everyone. Do not forget about me. I am still a race winner in this season. And it's a very deserved race win for Felix. Sean in P2 got so lucky with his strategy, I'd say. Numicorn, the pole sitter in P3. Velar with a good debut in P4. Kidaswag in P5. Buzzica Joe in P6. Aussie Joy P7. P8 for Jonathan. P9 for B Numbers, who was nowhere. Jeremy Cheeseburger with a DNF. And yeah. That's been the Australian Grand Prix. We are now done again across all 3 divisions with Melbourne. And it's a win for Haas in Division 2 and Division 1 in Melbourne. So we can be happy with that one. So thank you for watching tonight's race. This has been the Australian Grand Prix in Division 1. The season is 18, but this has been Division 1, round number 14. So 4 races are left on the calendar, with a sprint race as well. That's going to be in Abu Dhabi, the penultimate race of the season. But now, buckle in, because we're going to get a special race next week, which is going to be the Monaco Grand Prix. A unique race. For good or for bad, that's up to judgment. But it's most definitely one of the most important races on the calendar. Every single time we get a Monaco race, absolutely everything could happen. It is still, to this day, the most difficult challenge for a Formula 1 driver. Whether it's a real Formula 1, whether it's sim racing on the F1 25 game, you do not want to miss it. So I think there's gonna be plenty of surprises to come. And I definitely recommend you do not miss out on those races. So tune in again to the F1 Society YouTube channel on Tuesday for Division 3, Wednesday for Division 2, and again Saturday for Division 1 for the Monaco Grand Prix. You do not want to miss how this season ends across all 3 divisions. Everything is still far from over, far from decided. Anything could still happen and we are all so ready for that. So thank you for watching tonight's race, and we will wait for you on the YouTube channel of F1 Total. We will be streaming across all 3 divisions. So thank you for watching. We will see